Hi everyone, and welcome to video 2. Today is actually Father's Day, so I have popped into my office on a Sunday, but I know that I needed to get this video out to you today, and I really hope that you had a little bit of time to have a look and come up with what we discussed yesterday. So today you should be coming to the table with your packages, your prices, and your ideal client description ready at hand. If you haven't watched the first video, I suggest you go to my YouTube channel, which is called Stephanie Fiteni, or to my Facebook page. Again, the name is Stephanie Fiteni, and you should be able to find the first video of the series really easily. It's just one basically before this one. And have a good look at that, because I think it will really help you get some clarity. If you already have your packages and your prices and your ideal client sorted, you may not need to go back. In any case, no matter at what stage you are, this video is going to be very useful to you as well. So whether you watched the previous one or not, I have some really good value nuggets for you today. And today we're going to talk about the systems you need to set up in order to make your operation, well, as a coach or a consultant, or as some people noted in the comments yesterday, even if you're a freelancer, it can help you really create the right system so that you're all set up to sell quickly and even, set yourself on a path where you can scale up quite easily later. And of course, what we want to do is maximize income for the amount of time that we work, so that, we can have an easier lifestyle, or we can achieve our dream of working less and actually managing to work more. And this is, I can assure you, totally possible. So let's dive right in. But before I start, I wanted to say, for those of you who have not seen me before, I am Stephanie Fiteni. I'm a traffic growth coach and a content marketing strategist. So basically, I help my clients through their blog to grow the traffic to their website, and build effective content marketing that gets found on Google, gets found on social media, through strategies that really do attract the right ideal clients. And of course, generating leads is at the core of all this, because that's what we really need and that's what we really want for our business. And of course, not all leads are created equal, so finding the right leads is extremely important. And this is why during the last video, I asked you to have a good look at your ideal client and also the right packages and pricing for you and for them. Because of course, never forget that it's not just about them, it's about creating that balance that keeps you both happy. So today we're going to talk about systems. And, as a coach, it can be really quite daunting in the beginning, where you find yourself doing a lot of admin stuff. Now, probably a lot of you might already use it, or if you're still in the very beginning of maybe coaching offline or going online, it may be a little bit new. Now, the first thing that really, really, really won me back quite a lot of time is actually a simple scheduler. A scheduler is a tool you can use. There are many popular ones. The two most popular ones are probably Schedule Once and Calendly. And there's also a third one called Acuity, which is quite popular as well. They all basically do the same thing. They integrate with your calendar. So whether you use the calendar on your computer or you use the Gmail calendar, or maybe the one on your Mac, it just integrates with it, and it allows you to send a link to your clients and book a call with you for free, for automatically. So they basically can see all the slots you have made available. And this is not all the slots in your calendar. For instance, myself, I tend to prefer to keep my coaching clients, say, to a Wednesday and a Thursday, because I have different things allocated to the different days of the week. And basically, the calendar allows me to have my coaching clients specifically book the dates that I want available for those particular those particular services. And why does this make a big difference? It makes a big difference because being able to compartmentalize your time is going to make a big difference to your productivity. And the thing is, when you actually call a client, and they try to twist your arm into booking a day that is not usually allocated to coaching. You think, oh, I really like this client, and she's saying she really needs to see me on Tuesday. So you end up basically breaking your own routine and breaking your own processes because, maybe you were going to do something important for your marketing on Tuesday, or maybe you had and you needed some downtime on that particular day. So you need to keep in mind that nobody is going to argue with the calendar. When you send them your slots, they think, okay, these are the 5 slots, and they will find a way of fitting that into their schedule. And this, I think, is extremely important. Some people are a little bit technology shy. So depending on which industry you work, your clients may not be so tech friendly yet. So it's important that you maybe onboard them onto the system a little bit more slowly. From my experience, sometimes we can really underestimate our clients and think that they're not going to use a scheduler, but then they actually do. So I would definitely start by having a scheduler. This is the first thing. It will save you endless emails toing and froing to try and find a slot, that is good for both of you. So definitely step 1 for your systems, you need to get yourself a scheduler. Now, don't worry about putting down the names of the tools I'm mentioning because I'm going to put everything in the description of this video. So the second thing you're going to need, and we're going to talk about this again in the next session, is going to be an email marketing tool. Now, of course, you may want to start just by emailing your clients and emailing them one-to-one. However, once you start doing those things in your business for marketing that you need to do to position yourself and so on, you are going to have content and you're going to want to share this with your clients. So it's very important that you choose an email marketing tool. Now, what an email marketing tool does, something like MailerLite or maybe MailChimp, everybody's heard of MailChimp. What it does is basically send one mail shot to all your email database. So it's not a one-to-one, it's a one-to-many tool. And what it does is it allows you to basically start sending a newsletter. And this is very important because it's the beginning of, building an audience and, getting a bit of a relationship with your audience. The third and probably most important tool is a contract signing tool. Now, I like to do this digitally. There are some people that send over contracts in terms of PDF, and then people print them and sign them and send them back. This can be really cumbersome, especially if you're planning to go online eventually and work fully online, and you're going to have maybe more clients. For instance, I'll give you a good example. Let's say, for instance, I have room. Let's say if I decide to fully book my Thursdays, I actually have approximately take about 6 clients a month. Because then obviously I do back-to-back calls and that can turn into quite a long day. Now, if I have to onboard 6 clients every month, go in and edit every client, then send the contract and chase them and, create all the project details, send them all the I have like a like a sort of onboarding process where I send people questions that they need to answer. So imagine you had to do all of this manually. It would take forever. So what you can do is you have your contract signing software, which you can use. Adobe has a tool for that. And I will, once again, don't worry about the tools. I will give you the links. And there's also a very good tool called Dubsado, which basically takes you through everything, the process, the system. I actually mentioned this quite at length in one of my blog posts, which has not gone live yet, but it will in the next 24 to 48 hours. So I will share the blog post with you as well. So, this particular tool, so Dubsado, will allow you to sign the contracts as well as follow the projects and email your clients as well. So, but it is not a free tool, and it can be quite expensive for somebody starting out. If you're already at the stage where you have a few offline clients and you're making a regular income and you want to go online, this is actually a perfect tool to use because it will integrate everything together. So the scheduler that I mentioned before can integrate with it. Also, email marketing tools can be connected to it, so you can actually have everything plug in nicely. If you use Dubsado, you will not need a contract signing tool like Adobe because they actually have their own. And in fact, this is one of the main reasons why I really love this tool, because you can also connect your contract to your invoicing because it has a simple invoicing tool, and that works really nicely. Again, you don't have to have lengthy contracts, but what I find from, giving my clients what I call an engagement letter, which is basically just a description of what is going to happen. Now, if somebody just buys a 4-week or a 6-week package, I don't really tend to give them contracts because that is something that tends to start and finish really fast, I find. But if somebody's on a 6-month or a 12-month contract and there's a lot that needs to be delivered, I think it's quite important that we create at least a 1-page engagement letter, because that way the client feels like they're bound to finish what they started, because of course accountability is important for everybody. So that is basically what I recommend. I will also try to share with you a template of my engagement letter, so you can have a look at more or less the terms that you use. And the one that I use is actually very flexible. It can be used for services and for packages, and it can also be used for if you're a consultant, consultancy hour package, or maybe even a coaching package. So it is really quite flexible. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes a little bit because I made some notes earlier, because I don't want to make sure I don't want to forget any of these. Okay, so far we have built this, right? So you have your scheduler, so your meetings happen automatically. So far what people are doing is they come to your site or they get a referral from somebody, they check you out, maybe they go to your Facebook page. Your scheduler has to be strategically in the places where people are going to look to book a call with you and talk to you. So definitely on your website, maybe why not, even in your email footer, and also your social media pages. So you have this entry point. People are going to book calls with you to check if you're the right person to work with, or maybe to ask you some questions, and then you onboard some of those as clients. Of course, once you do, you're going to need the calendar. I like to pre-book all the 6 slots so that people know when the slots are going to happen and when their coaching program is going to start and it's going to end. Of course, people can, reschedule automatically through the scheduler, and you can also share with them things like onboarding forms. And this, in fact, brings me to the next tool. So I actually have certain questions that I need to ask my ideal clients before we jump into what I call the mapping session. Before I actually give my clients a freebie before we start working with each other for 6 weeks. And what I do during the session is basically map out all the sort of customization on all the tweaks that they need. A lot of people jump onto a program like the one I offer, which is about blogging, and they believe that SEO and blogging, is one process and is the same for everybody. So during this mapping session, what I do is I find out as much as I can about my clients and where they are and what they're already doing and what has worked and what hasn't. And I, of course, customize the program, because no, SEO is not one size fits all, and blogging as well is certainly not one of those things where you can learn a trick and it's going to absolutely work for everybody. There is no silver bullet. You need to learn how to feel and find what is right for you. So this is why I send this form, and all I do is I just have a simple Google form, and this Google form feeds into a Google Sheet. So it's simply a set of questions that the client fills in, and then it just automatically goes into this form. And you can set up your scheduler to automatically send this in the email that sends them the confirmation for the slot that they booked. So literally, you have just onboarded a client and booked your first session, and you haven't had to do any manual work at all. Another thing that a lot of schedulers can do is actually book your video call. A good tool to use, which I love to use, and in fact, I am using it to actually record this video right now because it records in HD. And it's called Zoom. And you can have two types of Zoom accounts. If you do webinars like myself, you probably have to go on the more expensive package, which is, I believe, about $54 a month. However, if you just want to do private calls with your clients, you can choose the $14 a month package. And what it does is you can actually integrate this. You can definitely do it with Schedule Once, and you can also do it with Calendly. Yes, you can definitely do it with those two. You may be able to do it with Acuity as well, but I'm not terribly sure. I will have to check that. And basically, when the client books the call, it automatically generates the meeting in your Zoom software. So you don't even need to send the link to your client. The scheduler sends the link to the call to your client, and it also sends them, in my case, I like to set it up to send the client a reminder 30 minutes before the call. And this is going to come in so handy because when you scale up, it's going to become really difficult. You know, you need to imagine that even if you're just booking 10 clients a month, for every 10 clients that you book, you're probably going to talk, you know, to 20, sometimes even 30 clients, depending on the time of year. So you need to keep in mind that if you had to keep booking all these calls manually, it's going to take so much time. And this sometimes can deter you or demotivate you because you think, oh my goodness, this is so much work. Whereas if you have your right automation in place, it's going to feel so much easier. And what it does, what I find it does, is it really sparks your motivation to go online because you think, this is making my life so much easier and I have so much more free time. So, okay, so we have so far the calendar. Another thing you can do with these calendars is actually set them up to take payment before the call. So let's say, for instance, like myself, when I first started off, I used to actually sell 1-hour packages. And they were strategy packages. And basically, I used to sometimes sell them for a discount, and you could very simply just click on the button. You would pay first, and then you would be redirected to choose your slot. And it was really, really easy for me because, you know, in this case, it was integrated with PayPal. So the money went directly into my PayPal account. You can also today, I believe, integrate them with 3 tools. And this counts for both for Dubsado, if you're going to use that as sort of your overall tool, or if you're going to use something like Schedule Once. And they can be integrated with PayPal, with Stripe, and also with Square. You will have availability to these based on where you are. I believe Stripe doesn't have such a large reach yet, but the other two, PayPal and Square, are pretty much everywhere. So, okay, so here's the process again. So we have the calendar, we have the payment, if you want to take payment for the session before, and then it automatically synchronizes with everything and creates the link to the call and puts it also in your call tool. So, you know, in Zoom in this case, which is a lot like Skype. If you use Skype, you can very simply put your Skype name and request theirs in the form when they apply in the calendar, and then put your Skype name in the email that they get sent as a confirmation. So even if you don't want to use a paid tool to do your calls, you can very simply just put your Skype name. I do not use Skype anymore, and I think this is actually an important point to mention. I do not use it because in the beginning, when I started doing it, I realized that I was ending up with hundreds of people on my Skype list that I didn't know, because, you know, I would meet someone and they'd say, oh, I'm interested in your coaching package. Can we jump on a call? And every time I'd have to connect with them on Skype. And it's kind of really rude to then afterwards just block these people, or, and, when people start accumulating, they start asking you questions and so on. And it's going to become really annoying when you have a lot of people that ultimately you don't really know, because your working relationship didn't go any further. So I definitely would not recommend using Skype if possible, because it's just not feasible in the long term. Okay, so then once you do your call, of course, you can have a follow-up. Right, and there are also, so you can do these two things. Now, the follow-up, what you can do is in Zoom. So it all depends, as a coach or a consultant, what kind of follow-up you're going to give to your clients. Now, the big advantage, and this is a fantastic incentive if you have offline clients and you want to move them online, the biggest advantage of using Zoom is that you can record the calls in really high quality. And the good thing about it is that if you don't want to do follow-up of the call, in the beginning, I used to record the video and then upload it to my YouTube and send the link to the client. I still do that when clients have technical difficulty, or sometimes in the first calls. However, this is not feasible to do absolutely for everybody. So my preferred way to do this is actually to use Zoom to allow the clients to record the call. And that way, you actually don't need to do any follow-up. So what you would do is, Zoom also has a chat feature. So you give your client all the follow-up documents that they need. So if you've taken notes during the session, you can send them to them through the chat. And if you have forms or maybe worksheets or templates that your client is going to use, for instance, I often share blogging templates and SEO optimization templates for websites and stuff like that. All you do is select, and the chat will send your file to your client. They will be recording the session. So when they close the session, they will have the notes, they will have the PDFs to send them, and they will also have a recording of the call. And this is great because it can really help you. In the beginning, when you start transitioning from offline to online clients, what you can do is you can still sell offline. So people will come to you offline, maybe by word of mouth, maybe you meet them somewhere. But you say, hey, I deliver my coaching packages online. This is, in fact, how I started the transition. So selling offline, and I still do it today. In fact, when I meet people face-to-face, I say, the best option to do this for you is, of course, to do it online. And that is how I do my coaching. And guess what? The big plus is that you get a recording of each call. Of course, with my topic blogging, it's great because there might be some technical things or something in terms of strategy that takes long to execute. So having the videos is a big plus. So if you can find that little bit of value that you can give for the long term, it can really help you sell the video side of it. And that is going to help your clients want to go from offline face-to-face to online. And of course, that is going to save you so much time. In fact, a lot of the time, I just give my clients a lot more time than I probably should, because I don't actually have to drive between one session and another. So I can actually spend that time giving my clients more of my time, which is a big value plus for them. So that's definitely a good one to think about when you're transitioning from online to offline. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to need is a good accounting system. So if you're going to use Dubsado, you probably won't need anything else because you have your invoicing and your chasing and stuff. And you can probably just give access to your accountant and then can take everything you need. However, like we said, that comes at a monthly premium. So most people will not start off with that. A good app to start off with, if you do not have a budget for an accounting package, is Waive Apps. And Waive App is an accounting package which is very similar actually to QuickBooks Online or Sage Online. It gives you very good statistical reports. That's one of the reasons why I like it. But probably the best feature is that when a client joins you, and maybe they don't want to pay the full price at once, they want to break it down into payments, you can just go in, create the invoices, and set them to go out automatically. So I find that this is probably the best thing about it. So even if you have maybe you plan to have a membership site, so your clients stay with you for 6, 12, 18 months. And maybe if you're selling something that can be broken down into 3 or 4 installments, you can do that with Waive, and the invoices get sent out automatically, which means that you are not spending a lot of time chasing. So all you need to do is, and this is in fact exactly how I break down my week, I have a couple of hours on a Friday morning where I just go in, I pay all my suppliers on a Friday morning, and then I will go into my invoices and see which ones have been paid. And if there are some that are very much overdue, I will just send a reminder, and it's literally at the press of a button. In fact, I really love Waive for this. And in fact, then to just do your accounting, you can just give your accountant access, and that's it. And it's all done and dusted from your end. Of course, depending on how digital your accountant is, you may need to produce a little bit more paperwork, but it's a very, very good place to start. Okay, so that is the process that I wanted to explain today. So if you are doing the shift, there are definitely these things that you need to automate. You need to think of how people are going to book time with you. You also need to think about how you're going to begin and stay in contact with new and old clients. So, this is where I mentioned the newsletter. And of course, when you start creating content, then you can start creating more of a relationship with them. But of course, also the most important thing is probably your onboarding process, because this makes a big difference when you start getting more and more clients. Because once you start booking people online, even like I said, if you sold it face-to-face somewhere, maybe you met somebody at an event, and you're delivering online, you will immediately start saving time, because you won't be, driving around so much. You won't be getting stuck in traffic. So that is definitely the first thing to do, the scheduler and the onboarding. The onboarding needs to definitely be automatic as much as possible. So try to think the first time you're doing something, let's say you're going to start right away. So the next client you're going to onboard, you're going to create each document digitally and start creating the process. So that is literally how you do it. You just decide, you say, okay, from that particular day onwards, I am going to onboard everybody on the system. So just prepare the software, prepare the questionnaires, prepare all the PDFs that you usually share with your clients, and you will find that you're also so much more relaxed, during your sessions and with your clients, and so much more confident of your product because you have everything at your fingertips. So definitely onboarding is something that needs to be automated. If you have something that is unusual in your onboarding, feel free to leave me a comment or ask a question, and I will be very happy to help you out with that. So basically the next step is your systems, and this is very important because once you go online, you can really scale up your business, and you scale it up. This is not my idea. It's actually something that I've been coached on by my coach Sigrun. And basically, once you have filled up your one-to-one clients, then you can start moving on to groups and maybe even your own masterminds, and then you move on to online courses. And, in fact, Sigrun has created something which I think is invaluable for coaches and consultants. And she has created something called Somba, which is an online course that takes 12 months. And basically what it does is it actually tells you the different stages that you need to take to start from coaching to then building your business and really growing your income. And if you do get a chance, and I think you will get a chance actually, because I will be reselling it this year. And in fact, I am currently thinking I will be offering a bonus for people who use my link to book it. So I believe that, the people in my audience and the people would really benefit from Sigrun's audience. I have been in the community for quite a few years, and it's an amazing community of female entrepreneurs, mostly female entrepreneurs, because there have been a few men in the last couple of years. And it's really valuable, and it really goes hand in hand with what I teach, which is basically blogging and how to build your authority and how to get leads online. What she does is provide a framework of how an online business can begin and really scale income. She, in fact, herself has a very fine 7-figure business, and she started off as a coach selling 1-hour sessions. So, it's great when you can see somebody that has already done what you're doing and is a few steps ahead of you, and because that gives you the security. I think this is probably the most valuable thing. It gives you the security that what you're doing is not for nothing, that other people have managed to get there, and that you have all the tools you need to get there as well. So then the only ifs and buts are, how long is it going to take me, and what form does my company take? Which is something that obviously I get a lot of help with. Okay, so I really hope you have enjoyed the session today. I will be adding all the tools and even sharing my blog posts under the video. I will also be adding a link to a masterclass, which my coach Sigrun is doing. It can be quite useful alongside what I teach my clients. So if you are looking to build an online business, this is going to be a very good series. I'm going to be there too, of course, on the webinar. So if you want to jump on, it will be great to talk in the chat. So I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to talk about probably the most important thing, which will make an impact on your business right away today. I'm going to go through all the marketing things that you need set up, if you're a beginner or if you're going to the next level. So I will explain all the things you need to have in place, where to start, where to tweak, and how to work it up in a way that you start getting leads regularly into your business, because there's no such thing as a coaching consultancy or a business that can survive without constant leads going in, because you need constant clients in order to have a regular income. And what I find is that I meet a lot of clients that have a problem with this, getting leads consistently into their business. And it's something that we all face, but I can assure you it's something that you can override. And this is where you will find that you become much more relaxed about your business, because you're not worrying and wondering where your next client is going to come from. Good. So I really hope you're going to find the link that I share with you useful. And I really hope to see you again tomorrow for the 3rd video. If you have questions, pop them under this video. And I will see you tomorrow.